So hello everybody, and thank you so much for joining our Women in Engineering virtual hangout here at the University of Waterloo. We of course wish we could be engaging with you on our wonderful campus, but we are going to continue engaging virtually for the time being, which brings different joys to the table, which we're very happy about. We hope you're looking forward to an evening dedicated to learning about the Women in Engineering community on campus, but also having the special opportunity to engage in intimate settings in our breakout rooms very soon with alumni and current students, where you'll get to connect, engage, and ask many questions that you're curious about. So my name is Patricia. I am the recruitment specialist here at Waterloo Engineering. I am so thankful to be joined by an amazing group of staff members, faculty members, current students, and past students here who have so much to share with you about Waterloo Engineering. Before I begin though, I actually need to take a very important moment to do something special. For those of you who are joining us today, you have received an offered admission to Waterloo Engineering. And if we were in person together, we'd be giving you all a standing ovation. We can't do that necessarily today, but what we will do is we will give you a virtual round of applause. We hope you are so proud of yourself. This is an exceptional honor and opportunity. And it all has to do with your hard work academically that you've been pushing through in your high school days. And of course, all the amazing work that you do outside the classroom for your communities, for your schools, and any other extracurriculars you've taken on. We are all so proud of you. We're so excited for you. And we do truly hope you consider joining us in the fall here at Waterloo Engineering. So even though we are not physically on campus today, it is important that we take this opportunity to acknowledge the territory and land that we are on. So the University of Waterloo acknowledges that much of our work takes place on the traditional territory of the neutral Anishinaabe and Haudenosaunee peoples. Our main campus is situated on the Haldimand Tract, the land promised to the six nations that includes 6 miles on each side of the Grand River. And our active work towards reconciliation takes place across our campuses through research, learning, teaching, community building, and is all centralized within U Waterloo's Office of Indigenous Relations. We've got incredible staff and faculty and students that are dedicated to supporting our Indigenous students on campus, if it's future students, current students, or graduating students as well. And us as a recruitment team member and myself and the great team that is putting together tonight's event is constantly reflecting on the work that we can continue doing to support our Indigenous students. Something that each one of you can do today or later after this event is to visit nativeland.ca to learn more about the land that you occupy. So of course, we're going to be spending the next portion of our evenings together. If you've got any questions, we are here to answer your questions. So at any point during this presentation portion of the evening, feel free to use the Q&A and chat function to be able to answer your questions. Our team will do their best to respond. And then of course, when you're with your breakout room shortly, you'll get to ask questions in a more intimate setting. And if you haven't already interacted with this wonderful email account, enginfo@uwaterloo.ca is your go-to place for any questions about admissions, programs, or anything about Waterloo Engineering. So before we do officially begin, we've got to throw in a couple polls here and there. We'd want to know a little bit more about you. If you can tell us where you're joining us from today. Are you local to the University of Waterloo? Are you somewhere else in Ontario? Are you joining us from another province in Canada, or are you joining us outside of Canada? So if you can take a quick moment here to let us know where you're joining us from today, that would be fabulous. There is no correct answer. We're just so thankful that you are joining us from wherever you are. Perfect. We'll give everybody 5 more seconds. Perfect. Perfect. Thank you so much to those who have submitted. I don't know if we'll be able to see the shared poll results in a second. Oh, we sure can, folks. This is very exciting news. We have a top score for the majority of our audience joining us from Ontario, but we've got lots of students who are local. We've got a couple students across the country, and then even some individuals across outside of Canada. Well, everybody's welcome to tonight's session, and thank you for participating. So something to share about tonight's event, but also to get you excited about upcoming events. There's going to be lots of events coming your way in the next month and a bit. We know you have a very important decision to be making. So here are just a couple events that any student is welcome to join. We've got 2 Women in Engineering Living Learning Community webinars, one happening in just a couple weeks at the end of April, and then another session will happen in the end of May. This is for anybody who's looking to, considering their residence options and looking to maybe join one of the living learning communities that are offered here at Waterloo. We've got a Student Life and Equity, Diversity, Inclusion webinar in mid-May, a Parent Supporter Ask Me Anything session hosted by the Dean of Engineering, Mary Wells. And then to end things off on a very exciting note, we have an in-person event happening at the end of May. It's the U at Waterloo Day for admitted students. And we'll also be hosting a special reception event for our women identifying students. But then, of course, we know you have very important decisions to make when it comes to your specific program. As here at Waterloo Engineering, all of our engineering programs are direct entry. So we have given you many opportunities to learn about your programs. Every program or department will be offering a program AMA. They're happening starting next week. You will be getting invites to these programs, program AMAs if you haven't already done so, but take a quick note of when your program or department will be hosting their program AMA, and we hope, of course, you can join us then. But if not, we'll do our best to, we will definitely send you our recorded webinar as well. And now I don't normally do this at webinars, but if you do have your cell phone with you, we have put together 2 QR codes for you to quickly access 2 of these events. If you are interested in the Women in Engineering Living Learning Community Information Session, the QR code on the left is for you to scan and register here on the spot, or you can take a look at the second QR code that's listed to access the registration form for our program Ask Me Anything webinars, which again start next week. Give you 5 extra seconds to capture that, but of course in the chat function you'll have the direct link as well. Perfect. And then our next question of the event before our very special guest will be joining me on the virtual stage in just a minute. We've got one more poll coming your way in just a little bit. We want to hear a little bit more about what you're looking forward to when it comes to being a Waterloo engineering student. So let us know what you're looking forward to. Is it attending lectures on topics that you're excited about? So really diving into your specific program. Is it working on projects and taking on, experiential learning through your multiple co-op terms that you'll get as a Waterloo engineering student? Fun fact is that you can graduate with up to 6 co-op terms, pretty cool. Maybe making friends and really experiencing the social life here at Waterloo Engineering and getting immersed in the women in engineering community. Or maybe some of you have some innovation at heart and are interested in developing your entrepreneur skills that will lead you to, who knows, starting your own company. There is no correct answer. We're just curious to know what you are looking forward to when it comes to the fall and starting your degree at Waterloo Engineering. We'll give you 5 extra seconds before we wrap up poll number 2. All right, we'll close up poll number 2. We hope that many of you have given us a response. It looks like we've got some great interest across the board. Lots of students are interested about exploring their passions academically. We've got a huge interest in the co-op, which is awesome. Lots of students looking forward to making some friends and attending social events. And we've even got a strong interest in entrepreneurship. Very cool. Thank you also for participating. So on this note, thank you for listening to some housekeeping items and some big updates from Waterloo Engineering. We've got something very special happening for the next portion of the event. I'm going to invite the incredible Andrea to the virtual stage here to join me as she's going to be sharing her experiences as a woman in engineering. She's been so involved in this, in the Women in Engineering Student Committee at Waterloo. And she might also be sharing some great tips and tricks for you all as well. So Andrea, over to you to share some important messages and words with our future students.
Thank you so much, Patricia. And hello, everybody. So excited to see all of you. Just to reiterate what Patricia said at the very beginning, but a huge congratulations to all of you. I think back to when I was applying to Waterloo Eng, and boy, was I stressed. There's so much incredible work that goes into your extracurriculars, your marks, and all of that stuff. So kudos to all of you for making it. And I'm so excited to be meeting some of you in the breakout rooms as well. But my name is Andrea. I am a third-year mechatronics engineering student at Waterloo. I'm also the president of the Women in Engineering Student Committee. Next slide. So just to share a little bit about my experiences, you'll also hear a little bit from me at the end of the Q&A, but if I were to describe my experience as a woman in engineering, I would say that it is empowering, but challenging at times. I think Waterloo provides a wonderful community with a multitude of experiences for you to grow, develop, take those risks in a safe community, and just really figure out what you're passionate about. And also you're becoming an engineer. You're going into a profession that will be helping the world in some way, shape, or form. So it's really like I would say empowering and just a wonderful feeling, I think, to be here at Waterloo Eng. But I think on the flip side, a side that not a lot of people talk about a lot is the challenges of being a woman in engineering. And sometimes you'll find yourself in not so fun situations. And my biggest example of this is when I was applying to Waterloo Engineering, I had a couple of classmates who were male, unfortunately, or yes, they made the comment that, oh, you're not even interested in engineering. Oh, you don't even do robotics. Why are you going into engineering? So sometimes you'll find yourself in situations where somebody will make this comment that really downplays your abilities or your capabilities. And you can find those situations in the workplace as well as at school. But I think the most important thing is that these situations will happen as we are a minority in a certain sense, but you'll find that great support system at Waterloo to help you overcome some of those situations. And something that I like to emphasize is that the world is very much filled with amazing human beings who will be there to support you no matter what. And some of those challenging situations are just things that you may deal from time to time. But it really is a great experience overall. Next slide. So today in this presentation, I'll be going over really some of the history of women in engineering, some of the future of what we envision, as well as all of the great programming that we have for our incoming students and current students, faculty, everybody basically in our Waterloo community. So the number of women enrolled in engineering programs has increased about 15% over the last 13 years, which is a great number to be proud of, but there's still a long ways to go. So we're very much excited to see that number continue to grow over the next few years. A lot of women in engineering, we've promoted careers in engineering to young women through outreach programs. I will be talking more about some of those programs later on. And something important to note is we have a partnership with Hydro One, which basically provides funding to develop outreach activities for elementary and high school students, some of programs which you might have attended as a high school student or as maybe an elementary school student over the years. Next slide. And so their history of WiE has been, okay, we're at 30% now, but where do we go from here? So there's a lot of different initiatives that we have currently in place that are basically here to say, we want more women in engineering, and it's going to be a more diverse group. The Professional Engineers of Ontario, we have the 30 by 30, I guess, guideline or our goal that we have, which is 30% of women having the professional engineering designate by 2030. And that's in all our engineering programs across all faculty members. So that's one of the initiatives we have going. A lot of gender equity and advocacy work is being done as well in order to better support our women in engineering. Addressing the barriers to engineering is a part of that as well. We also have our student alumni WiE mentorship programs, which will be starting back up this May, and increased outreach to our younger students out there as well. Next slide. So these numbers are something that I was always interested in as a student coming into Waterloo Eng, but I think a lot of people are interested just to see the breakdown between all the different disciplines of engineering and to see how many women in engineering are in each program. So overall, we're sitting at a nice 30.3% of undergraduate students in engineering who are women identifying. You'll see that the lower end is a mechanical and mechatronics there, but at the higher end, we have biomedical and architectural at the top. But these are just numbers, I guess, for your reference in terms of seeing what the breakdown kind of looks like across the programs that we have here at Waterloo. Next slide. So introducing WiE. WiE is an organization that works not only to support our current women in engineering communities, so that includes researchers, faculty, staff, undergraduate students, graduate students, but also inspiring the next generation of women, which are all the students that are coming in, including yourselves. And it's really about building that entire community from beginning to end, and really having that warm sense of I belong here as well. Next slide. So what is WiE and why are we here? So as I mentioned, we are working very hard to inspire the next generation of women to pursue careers in Eng. So you maybe have attended one of our engineering outreach events. We have Girl Guide Badge Day, which is always very fun. Go Eng Girl, Go Code Girl, Catalyst Conference, which some of you may be volunteering with at the end of April. And we also have our ESQ, or Engineering Science Quest camps as well. So maybe you've attended none, maybe you've attended all, maybe you've attended some of those activities that we have, but those are some ways that we are working to inspire the next generation of women in engineering, but also to support and empower our current female engineers and our students. So we have a wide variety of social events, technical workshops that we run throughout the term. Each term looks a little bit different depending on what season it is, what we like to do. This term we had a paint night, which is a lot of fun. I have zero artistic ability, I like to believe, but my painting turned out very beautiful. So painting by numbers is a great way for those who may not be as artistically inclined like I am. I'm not that great at art, but that's that. We also have our WiE mentorship program, networking events like these, movie nights, and much more that we run throughout the term. And there's lots more coming in the fall when all of you will be joining us as well. Next slide. So I guess in summary, like Women in Engineering exists to support and encourage current women identifying engineers and addresses issues that female engineers face. So as I mentioned, our mentorship programs, our workshop, connecting with alumni, our increased professional development workshops that we have, including interview skills for first-year students, our industry nights where we have companies come in and interact with our students, networking conferences, our WiE Living Learning community, which I'll be talking about later on. And as I mentioned, our social events, because it's always important to connect with other women in engineering and build that sense of community. Next slide. And something very important to know, which I like to emphasize all the time when I am speaking to anybody about women in Eng, is that we are a very inclusive community, that we encourage participation regardless of gender, orientation, or background. Everybody and anybody is welcome to attend our events, to be a part of this community, and really work with us and participate with us. Next slide. So some of the undergraduate opportunities that we have currently is our undergraduate student committee. We are currently a team of, I believe, 18, which has been growing over the last 2 years. And so we basically are in charge of running various events, supporting initiatives, volunteering at different outreach events. And we have recently started a podcast. So as you can see, there's lots and lots of things that our student committee works on throughout the terms. And we take directors every term. So stay tuned on our social media if you would like to become a director in your first year or would like to be involved with our undergrad student committee. We also have our alumni student career mentorship program, which is going to be starting this May again. We also have our faculty-wide survey for women in engineering and our advocacy work that is always ongoing. And we're working very closely with Professor Mary Robinson on a lot of that work. So there's lots of things coming up the pipeline over the next few months and going into the next years, I guess, of the work that we're doing. There's also virtual events, workshops, and hangouts. So stay tuned with our NSOC calendar there, and all of the dates and updates will be provided there as well. Next slide. So I know I've mentioned the WiE Career Mentorship Program quite a bit. And essentially, this was a pilot program that we started last year, and it was a year-long program that created a network between Waterloo female engineering students and Waterloo engineering alumni. So you'll definitely hear from some of them today. I think there's quite a few that have taken part of this program, but it was a really great way to connect with other alumni, get that professional growth, see, learn, and figure out what's coming up next, and also foster a sense of community. So there was a lot of resources and support for students as we prepare to think ahead to our future careers. This year, we took a break for January till April, and the next career mentorship program will be kicking off in May, and will continue on for 8 months. After that, we will keep going on in different cohorts from there on. But it's a great way to meet alumni and to get a sense of where am I going and what am I doing, and having somebody to bounce ideas off of. So shout outs to our alumni who are a part of that, and shout out to our students as well who took part last year, and we hopefully will see more coming in May. Next slide. Ooh, this is one of my favorite things to talk about, our living learning communities. So the Women in Engineering Living Learning Community is based in St. Paul's, which is a university college on campus. As you can see on the notes there, that's home to a wide range of students. So we have 3 different LLCs that are based out of St. Paul's. We also have the only French residence floor at Waterloo, which is pretty cool. The Waterloo Indigenous Student Center and the Indigenous Residence Community is also housed at St. Paul's. And our greenhouse innovators and residents also are based from the University College as well. So lots of things going on there. But I think a lot of you might be asking, what exactly is a living learning community? And a living learning community is a community perfectly for you. So it's a community created in partnership with St. Paul's and the Faculty of Engineering to support women identified students in their first year of all the engineering programs. So it's essentially a community where you can connect with other female engineering students from all programs in the faculty. You'll be placed into small clusters, approximately 12 students, specifically in the fall, with an upper year don, as well as a peer leader for support. And I was a peer leader for about 2 or 3 terms prior to during the pandemic, which was a lot of fun. It's always great to meet all the first year students. But starting September, I will be a don. So if you are going to St. Paul's, there is a chance that I might be your don there. So as your don and peer leaders, what we do is we create activities and events that are planned to support your transition and adjust to university. So we hold resume critiques, resume help sessions, technical sessions. We had cookie decorating this year. We also had like a spa night, bubble tea spa night event as well. So there's lots of fun things to do. And it's also just a great safe place for you to be kind of brought into the community right from the get-go, essentially. So in order to apply, make sure you confirm your offer to an ENG program by June 1st. Also, make sure to fill out the WiE Living Learning Community application form online by that same day. Rank St. Paul's as your #1 choice when you're ranking your residences. And then the acceptances will be done through a rolling admission until the program is completely full. But I do hope to see some of you at the WiE Living Learning Community. St. Paul's is a wonderful community to be a part of, and you'll definitely see me there for sure. Next slide. I believe that might be it from my end. Patricia, ready for the Q&A?
Absolutely, Andrea. Amazing. Thank you so much for sharing so much helpful information about the women in engineering community, its history, the types of events and initiatives that are offered, some ways that our future students can look forward to getting involved, which is great. And then also, of course, highlighting the women in engineering living learning community. So knowing that you're going to be a Dawn in the fall, I think is very exciting news for everybody who's just had 10 minutes to meet you here. So thank you so much, Andrea. So I've got two burning questions for you that came in from students who filled out our registration form when registering for this specific event. So my first question for you, and it's a great question because we clearly had lots of interest from our audience today with regards to co-op. So what have your experiences in engineering co-ops been so far? And if you can comment on it from the lens of a woman as well.
Absolutely. Co-op is, I think, the single best experience that I could have ever signed up for as coming into Waterloo engineering. And the main reason is that co-op provides you 6 different opportunities for you to go out and explore 6 different jobs. So you could be working as a mechatronics student, I could have gone into maybe doing a software job or maybe doing a mechanical job, working in a big company versus working in a small company. And this exploration phase that you have, you typically won't find elsewhere that doesn't maybe in a program that may not have the co-op associated with it. So you have 6 different opportunities to explore what type of company you want to work for, what field you want to work for, what type of engineering you want to do. If you're something like mechatronics, which has tons of different fields kind of mashed into one. But I think as a woman in engineering as well, I had amazing co-op experiences all throughout, and I was always met with incredibly supportive coworkers. One of my mentees, actually, who I still talk to, I met in my second co-op. And to this day, I still go, she's the first one I go to whenever I need advice on career, on if I should take an opportunity. And we text on the daily pretty much. But I think co-op allowed me to meet people like her and to find that person who's there to support me throughout my experience. So yeah, I think co-op's a great opportunity for you to just put yourself out there, to take that risk that you might not have taken if you maybe were going to look for a full-time job. But it's also an opportunity for you to really explore. And I challenge every single one of you, if you do come to Waterloo and you go into the co-op program, try something new, try something different, really push your comfort zone a bit, because it's a very safe place for you to do that.
That's incredible, Andrea. And I love that you're talking about the fact that because students have 6 different co-op placements throughout their undergrad, it is the best time to explore, right? It's about trying out jobs that you may have dreamed about, or it might be about trying a job that you're curious about and you're interested in exploring. It's a 4-month length, so it's not that you're committed for life. You're just sampling different career opportunities. And the fact that you have a lovely mentorship story that came out as 2 wonderful friends is wonderful to hear as well. The next burning question that was submitted by an audience member is, have you experienced imposter syndrome before? And if so, how have you overcome it, or are continually overcoming it?
All the time. Imposter syndrome is something that will never go away. And I think all the current students and alumni that are on the call will probably also relate. I think on a daily, I'm always like, am I enough? Am I doing enough? Am I smart enough for this program? But I think at the end of the day, something that's really helped me is surrounding myself with amazing other women in engineering, having people out there who are genuinely supporting me from the get-go. There's a couple of specific women in engineering here who have been with me since first year. And we would always volunteer at women in engineering events. And that's how I got to meet them. And they're definitely that girl group that I have, that whenever I'm like doubting myself, or whenever I'm like, is this enough? They're the ones that I go to have that support. But also something that I think has helped me, which I think a lot of people kind of hesitate to do, is it's an exercise that I personally have taken on, where you basically write down all the things that you're amazing at, and like don't filter yourself. Just think of all the things that you're doing, even the smallest little thing of getting out of bed and taking a shower. That's like small little things like that. Making a list of all your accomplishments and seeing all the great, fantastic things that you have done really helps to kind of be like, put things into perspective and say, hey, maybe right now my midterm, not so hot, didn't do that well, but I still deserve to be here because this is just one test, or this is just one situation or one encounter that I had that made me feel this way. But there's so many other things that I have that really kind of define me more in a sense. So I would say build that community up of people that are there to support you, to help you grow. And then also make that list. I think there will be days where I'll go back to that list and be like, yeah, I've accomplished so much and I definitely deserve to be here. Even if there's people out there that may make me question it, or there's situations where I say, oh, maybe no, maybe this isn't it. Definitely go back to that and go back to all the great things that you've done. It's hard sometimes to give yourself credit for the things that you've done, but I always say go back to that, because that'll bring things back into perspective, and it's helped me personally.
Amazing, Andrea. I'm imagining us in a virtual setting, right, in an in-person setting here, and I feel like you'd be getting snaps, you'd be getting big claps, because those were incredible words. I'm thinking that perfectly translate to how some of the students who have joined us today are feeling. But I think the reminder that, Andrea, you're just sharing, and that I want to continue to share, is that each one of you deserves to be here, belongs to be here. You earned that acceptance, that offer.
Exactly.
Nobody just handed it over to you. That is a dedication to your hard work. Again, academically, extracurricularly, in your community, in so many ways possible. So we hope that you are reminded that you truly deserve this offer acceptance, that you're excited about it, you're proud of yourself, and that you do look forward to building a strong community here at Waterloo, and you're doing the best thing by joining us today. In just a couple moments, you're going to start building your community of current students, of students who are currently involved in the Women in Engineering Committee, and also alumni who are either a year out, a couple years out, somewhere for many years out. And no matter if they're 1 year out or 2 years out or 10 years out, they are coming back to speak with you, connect with you. They want to be part of your community building as well. So, Andrea, on this note, thank you so much for your powerful words, your resources, your tips, your inspiration. And the best part is that you're not graduating just yet, meaning that our future students get to meet you in September. They'll get to meet you in residence. They'll get to meet you at some of these events. So thank you so much.
I will be here.
Yeah, perfect. And some of you will connect with Andrea as well in her breakout room session shortly. So this is where our recording of the event will end here, as we have wrapped up our presentation portion. Once again, thank you to Andrea, and thank you to everybody for listening.